Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. Today attendance is very low, surprising. Some are going to join. Okay. They went to form. I think they generally go afterwards, but maybe because of Sankirtan, they changed the plan. Hmm? Holidays in YouTube, they started. Spring break for this week. Okay, maybe that is the reason now. So, today's topic is very important as practitioners of spiritual life. We started, last week itself. We'll continue. We'll just summarize quickly what we discussed. You all see the notes there? Yeah. So we discussed the aspect of spiritual growth. What is spiritual growth? In the beginning of our journey as a budding spiritualist, we all our understanding of God is very small. Right? World plays the biggest role in our life. It means our perceptions are, we all have a worldview within of us, right? So we have a perception of what everything around is. And world plays the biggest role. God has a small role. Many of us go once a week to temple, or maybe just like 2 minutes before going to your work in the morning. So that is how the role of God is. But as we grow spiritually, the God's role becomes big. You see the bigger dot there, and the world is going to be small, because we see everything through the spiritual vision, right? So that is just like how to relate to that fact in our life. When we started in our journey of life, in the beginning, things were most attractive, right? So we always think, if I get this, I'll be happy. If I get, a job, or if I get married, I'll be happy, like that, right? But then once we get the things, are you really happy? Yeah. So it's never ending, the goalpost keeps changing. Because in everything that we get in this world, the things that we gain in this world have the dualities within them. Like there is pleasure and pain. Anything. So you talk about anything in your life, if it is taken away, things that you are attached to, you feel the pain. You are, many things in our life, you are emotionally attached. Say, for example, you have a car, and then unfortunately, car gets hit. Your heart is broken, right? So things like that. Everything in this life brings both pleasure and pain. When we dream of things, we think only of the positive side of the duality, only think of the pleasure. All the advertisement industry is based on projecting the positive side of duality, isn't it? So everything in this world gives both pleasure and pain, but inevitably the world is focused on the pleasure of the things, right? But unfortunately, the pain is also equally present, equally or even more. That we completely ignore. That's where the challenge is. So that is why, like I gave the example of my exam, IIT exam, right? So I cleared, and I saw the marks. I was happy for a minute, but even after getting that, I still depend on others for acknowledging my success to become happy. So I always depended on others to be happy. It's the same thing, if you buy a new house or car, when people congratulate, you'll feel happy. If people don't acknowledge, you feel, what's wrong with you. So it's always pleasure is in this world. If you try to derive happiness in this world through people, it always has a dependency on people. Or So it always brings dualities, right? But when you grow spiritually, right, God plays the biggest role in your life. And you see everything in that perception through the, eye of God, right? So you always see. So when that happens, your perception shifts completely. You think what you gain is based on what God wants you to have. So in that way, you are not too much. You are internally peaceful, right? So there is inner joy because God is all pleasing, all loving. So naturally, when you associate with a person who is very positive, what happens? You become very just like you meet a person who is very jolly and happy. What happens to you? Yeah, you exchange those vibrations, right? So similarly, God is all perfect, all joyful. So when we associate more and more with God, naturally we become internally satisfied and externally peaceful. So that's this picture is depicting. And then we read the 619 verse where the example of lamp is given. When there is a candlelight, for example, in a windless place, it is very stable. But if there is a lot of wind, what happens? It keeps flickering. So lamp is like our mind. Wind is the world, the world's dualities. When there are a lot of dualities overcoming the lamp or projected on the lamp, what happens? The lamp will keep flickering a lot, right? So when we focus our mind on the divine, right, it's like the dualities have no more role to play on our mind. Naturally, the lamp, just like then mind becomes a lot more calm and peaceful, right? So by shifting the focus from the world, which is outward, to God inward, we basically get away from all the dualities that we experience in this world. Yeah, we discussed this. So real achievement in this world, we read the next verse, right? So let me this one. Everybody wants to be happy in this world, and that's what drives everybody's actions in this world. Whether somebody becomes a billionaire or you know whatever they achieve in this world, whatever we do, like marriage or everything, is for that happiness. But unfortunately, the goalpost keeps changing. But this is the statement that really should draw our attention, right? But if one achieves a very high state of spirituality, in the joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, relates to transcendental senses, and established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Right? So only when you achieve a higher state of spiritual consciousness can you really be not disturbed by the dualities. And this is the highest state of happiness one can achieve. Only basically when there is no dualities, right? So a real achievement is actually when the mind is in a state when there is no craving for what it wants, right? Or no lamentation or misery for what it loses. This is the ultimate state, one should aspire. And this is what the path of spirituality promises, right? So nothing in the world can give you this kind of a mental state, right? It's like I gave this example. If you have $5 billion in your account, that's the state of mind one will achieve, when he has that connection with God, right? But on the other hand, And it doesn't mean that what you gain or lose in the world is immaterial. It still matters, but it doesn't really touch your heart as much, right? Yeah. So worldly gain, if you lose a $5 or gain a $5, doesn't really matter. Yeah. So the definition of yoga is here, right? So yeah. Tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga samyatam means dukkha samyoga viyogam. Viyogam means disconnection. Disconnection from the things that give distress. Dukkha samyoga means the things that give distress in life. Viyogam from that is called yoga. Right? That is what is defined. Disconnection from the connection with distress. So that is called yoga. Now, so this is the highest state one can achieve. So first we need to know what is the thing we can achieve, right? So that will inspire us to be on that path. So now after reading this, now the next part is going to give what is the path to achieve that, right? So let's read this verse. So first defining the goalpost, the state of mind where there is no hankering, no lamentation. Now to achieve that, so this is the practice one should engage in, right? Meditation. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses and all signs of mind. Yeah, so there are two aspects of meditation. When you talk about meditation, there are two aspects. First thing, what is meditation? First of all, let's understand that. Think about to think about something constantly. Yeah. Think about something constantly. Yeah. Now, what is happening in this world? We are completely focused on material things, isn't it? But the problem is the object of meditation in this world is not stable. It's flickering. If you focus on a person, the person himself changes, the way he reacts to you, you cannot completely rely on it. Anything like that. So take anything that you focus in this world, it's not stable. So first thing, when you think about meditation, you need an object of meditation that is stable, right? Stable, that's the first one. And the mode of thinking. And then once you have the object on which you want to focus, how do you approach that object? Your focused thinking. That's the second important thing, isn't it? You need to have right focus. For example, if a person is a drunkard, right? Wherever he goes, his mode of thinking is what? Is there a wine available here? If he goes to a party, so his focus is always like that. So even our thinking should be stable. It should be non-flickering and it should be steady, right? So both are important. So these are two aspects of meditation, right? One is the object. Object should be stable, and the mode of thinking should be also focused and non-flickering, non-agitating, right? But within this world, is it possible anything that we focus on? Suppose we all have various attachments. Suppose you are attached to, anybody want to say what they're attached to? Maybe cricket, right? Yeah. Is that object very stable? Is it that India always wins? No. And will you go through the emotional agitations when you watch it? You go through ups and downs, right? A lot. So that is what I'm saying here. So that is why the object of meditation should be carefully chosen. why we choose, why, for the practice of meditation, why God is chosen as the object of meditation? Because he is stable. His characteristics and his qualities, they are incomparable to anything that we can find in this world. So object of meditation and mode of thinking should be non-hesitating, right? If an object, if you are looking at for example, there are people who trade, the prices keeps flickering all the time, right? It's always hesitating. Sometimes it goes down, sometimes it goes up, right? Or if you watch news, things, do they not hesitate you? And that's the whole, the today's economy is called attention economy. They always try to grab your attention, isn't it? In fact, it works exactly opposite to what a spiritualist desires, because the spiritualist want to have things to be stable on which he can focus on, isn't it? A spiritualist on his path of progress, he want an object that is stable and his mode of thinking non-hesitating. Both are going to be not satisfied in this world, isn't it? Yeah. So that's why, so these are two aspects, right? So now we understand why, what that reality, what that higher reality or absolute truth on which we should focus on meditation, we'll discuss in chapter 7 onwards. That, so this is the beginning. These are like concepts or principles that we should know about achieving the like progress or growing spiritually, right? So these are aspects of meditation we should know. And the second thing we should know is the stages of meditation. When you are in the beginning stage, there is an object of meditation you choose. In the beginning, you try to focus your attention on that object, right? You let that object enter your mind. But when you choose a stable object, especially that is spiritual object, as you grow spiritually, that object actually becomes the object in which you enter. Means it is so absorbing, spiritually absorbing, that it lets you enter into that object. That doesn't happen with anything in the material world. Okay? So now, so say for example, in our practice, in the practice of Bhakti Yoga, we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We focus our attention on the on the mantra. But as the purification happens within you, as all these negative, unwanted things like anarthas go away from your mind, what happens is you gain entrance into God. Meaning you absorb yourself into God. Because God, you realize that God is so big and so pleasurable that you gain entrance into it. It's just like in the beginning, when there is no rain, you just carry an umbrella with you, right? It's just like one more object you carry. But when the rain starts, what happens? The umbrella expands to give you shelter. So similarly, when you need shelter, God becomes your shelter. The object of meditation becomes your shelter. You see, that is a difference between meditating on anything in this world versus meditating on God or the higher reality. So it's not that you just chant and I'm done, I'm growing spiritually. Eventually, that object of meditation is expected to give you the shelter. That is what we are aiming for, or that is where we are heading towards, right? So these are aspects, these are stages of meditation. As you grow, these will all manifest in our life, right? Okay. Yeah. Umbrella, if it is raining, what is it? what is the analogy? So basically, when you start meditation, right, you do it like it's one more thing in your life, right? It's like another aspect of your life. You spare some time, but eventually, the aspect of God grows so high that it gives you shelter within itself. Meaning, for anything you start seeing through the perception of God. You see everything that is happening in your life through the through the medium of God. You can see everything that happens in a very harmonious way. So sometimes good things happen in your life, or maybe bad things externally that happen in your life. You see the play of hand of God in everything. So you're not in the past you were very easily disturbed when things don't go as per your expectations, right? You go through high charges of emotion like ups and downs. But as you progress spiritually, I think some echo is coming. Yeah. As you progress spiritually, you start seeing things in moving in a very harmonious way according to the plan of God. So that is the perception of reality that happens in your direct experience. Just like a small thing that you carry, as an umbrella. But when the challenges come in your life, like in the outside world, when the rains come, the small umbrella becomes your shelter, right? So similarly, God becomes your shelter. People take people need a shelter when challenging times come. They take various things. Some people go to a good advisor, that is good. Some people go to wine shops, or everybody has their shelter, isn't it? They need some place to take off their anxieties in life, isn't it? God becomes your shelter, and that is far more enduring. Drugs are why people get addicted to drugs. It is their shelter. Yeah, everybody needs a shelter, whether they like it or not, and they choose it. The kind of friendship we have is a shelter, but most of them don't really cater to our needs, isn't it? Yeah.
This you see that God becomes the object of meditation.
Mhm.
Is also the steady object of meditation. But then that is like I think the perfection of yoga. Uh, but like for example, when Arjuna is fighting on the battlefield, or like when we are working, at that point of time we cannot actually make God as the object of meditation. At time the beauty that we are doing becomes the sort of object of meditation. So at that time, like what is the how is the perfect yogi performing in that?
Right. So God becomes the purpose. It's object of meditation doesn't mean that you always sit before God and only think about that. It is the purpose behind everything you do. For Arjuna, initially he wasn't sure what is his purpose. He was thinking, I will gain the kingdom, and that's where he will become happy. He was thinking the positive side of duality as his ultimate goal. But when he realized, actually, I am doing this as a duty to protect dharma and to establish God's vision, right? Then he was very clear. So it's externally he's fighting, but in the back of mind, he's actually fulfilling the desire of God. Make sense? Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that's the next topic. Yeah. So, there is this, we all get, mind is always filled with several thoughts, isn't it? There are so many thoughts popping up. And now, but doesn't mean that we focus on every thought. Can we? We cannot, right? And we are constantly moving between various thoughts that are popping up in our mind. We give attention to based on our interest and time, our purpose. We focus on, meditation. It's like you have many things on your laptop that are popping up, but you maximize one particular window, right? mind is like software, right? So there are so many things popping up, windows popping up, and you maximize certain things, and sometimes you minimize certain things, isn't it? Now, so mind is like an inner screen. Yeah, so yeah. So the main idea is, like I said, this world is an attention economy, right? Whatever gets your attention gets you, isn't it? You basically pass your authority to it. That becomes the authority for you, isn't it? Whatever you pay attention to becomes your authority. So now we have to choose our what we focus on very carefully, right? So so this whole idea actually, this is all driving towards how you should meditate. That's the purpose of all of this discussion. We'll get there, but we need to understand the aspects of meditation, and the stages of meditation to get there. Yeah. So meditation begins by paying attention to the right object, isn't it? So meditation begins when we start paying attention to the right object. Yeah. So, but what happens when you start meditating? Say, for example, you start chanting. What happens? Rahul? Mind wanders. So that is the habit of mind. Let's read a few verses, right? Yeah. Please read this. Anybody who has mic? Yeah.
Step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else.
Mm. So it is asking for fixing our mind on the self. In our case, self means anything, any object of spirituality, right? In our case, it is the name, the holy name. Yeah. Next, this is the key of meditation. Please read this.
The mind wanders and certainly withdraw and
Yeah. So this is the most important aspect of meditation. When you start meditating, the mind strays away. Mind moves away to various things, your office or your food, lunch, your parents in India, something or the other keeps taking your attention. Now, what you should do, if you leave it that way and you start rolling the beads, what happens? What happens? Huh? Yeah, it just stays away. It stays away and stays away like that. But then what you should do, that's what this verse is. You should withdraw from there are so many pop-ups happening in the mind, so many thoughts. Withdraw your mind from those pop-ups back to the object of real attention, so that requires an effort. So just like when you exercise, in a gym, you're working against the gravity. You're lifting, say, pull-ups. You're doing pull-ups or lifting some weights. Unless you push against the gravity, does your muscle grow? So there must be a struggle. So when you are chanting and happily thinking about something, that's what it happens with most of us, in the beginning stages. Actually, we stayed away. So that is the most important thing. So when the mind strays away, immediately try to bring it back. So it means you need to observe your thoughts. You need to become conscious of your mind. This is the key to spiritual growth. If you are just repeating the names, mind is wandering on its own journey to various planets. We are not growing anywhere. So the most important aspect of meditation or chanting is to bring the mind back to focus on the holy name, hearing the holy name back. So this is the most important thing, take away from today's session, right? And it's not pleasurable. Like I said, the good things start as a poison in the beginning. And once you start, having, taking shelter of God, once you build that faith, once the cleansing start happening, you experience a very high pleasure that after that, you can't even be taken away from God. Your mind is so absorbed that it's not easy to get out also. But until you get there, you have to work on it. You have to take it back. Hmm. Speak.
That when I naturally like I started my meditation and I'm doing other things in between that it's so seamless. Like I'm not putting any effort into it. It just goes and 1 hour passes and then I go. My 1 hour is gone and I'm not even meditating on top of God's mind, right? And why that is so seamless and I need to force ourselves back to the God's mind. I'm just trying to understand why it's so difficult.
Why it is so difficult? Because that is the nature we have built in over many lifetimes. So because we have internal desires, the desires force us to focus our mind on various objects of this world. And so that's why prayers are required. So we'll discuss some more aspects of it. And this is the real process of meditation. This is the real work that is required for us to grow spiritually. Always bring back the mind, right? Yeah. Please read the next verse. Yes. Take. Mhm.
So you mentioned about bringing thoughts to consciousness.
Oh yeah, observe. So it begins. I said we should bring the mind back to, focus on the focus of the object of meditation. But that begins when you are conscious of what you are doing. Many of us, we are not even conscious of it.
What do you mean conscious?
Aware, being aware. Being aware means you're
Focus on
like
consciousness. What do you mean? You are conscious about what does consciousness mean?
so when your mind is going to various objects, you should be aware that your mind is now distracted. That awareness is the consciousness aspect, conscious aspect, not consciousness, conscious.
And
Sometimes say, you're chanting or you're doing something, or maybe you're browsing something, you're doing your work, and suddenly something popped up and you went there. What happened there? You got distracted from your work and you browsed, you're in the Facebook world and you're, browsing pages and you like spent 1 hour. What happened there was you're not aware that you are losing track of your work. You lost awareness that you're not aware that you lost focus on your work, right? So that awareness, as soon as you catch, I lost my focus now. That is called being conscious. Being conscious in life is the beginning of, before becoming Krishna conscious, we should become conscious.
and being conscious all the time would be a very arduous task for the mind, right? You have to be conscious all the time. Is it like a muscle you can develop all the time?
Will build over time. But yeah, we should start looking at it. It comes naturally over a period of time. Yeah, but don't worry if you're not like that. Sometimes even now I lose track and I go into some social thing and we get lost. That happens once in a while, but that reduces, over a period of time. So you become more and more conscious. Or yeah. Please read the next. Yeah.
So on this
spiritual journey, I feel like there's a lot of paradoxes that come up. And one paradox I find that from the previous verses is, on one hand, I have experienced that joy of when turning inward and focusing completely on the self. But then also I feel like then there's this 180 opposite between the concept of focusing on self and then being selfless and being absorbed in selfless service. I find sometimes that I get completely absorbed in my own misery sometimes.
In my
Because
own misery?
Yeah, because I'm trying to practice looking inward, and sometimes all I see is darkness. So like, what is your, what are your comments on this type of paradox, where sometimes we become too absorbed in ourselves and not thinking about our loved ones and our society and the people around us?
Yeah. So I was talking about, so even though you're saying it as self, actually that focus, inward focus that you're mentioning is actually focus on the things of this world only still, because talking about people and, or, your various things of your life, that is still actually, even though it appeared like inward, it is actually outward focus only. But on the other hand, so from the next chapter, we'll understand what is absolute truth and the reality of it and the characteristics of it. When you understand, you'll understand that you can also meditate on that aspects. Right now we are very new to we understand Krishna as God, but we don't know in depth what is that object of meditation is. So that will be revealed over the next chapters. We are at a very basic level now. But when you understand that, now that time you can understand, that there are other things that you can meditate on, which are a lot more sweeter, lot more satisfying, right? So I'm only talking about that. So what you mentioned are still in the purview of the world only, yeah, which we want to reduce, because it always comes with dualities. There is happiness and misery. It doesn't mean that we go away from people of this world. I still deal with all of you. I still, relate to the people at work. I lead a big team. So all of that happens, but still your focus where you're absorbed is spiritual, not material. That happens, you deal with it, but you don't get agitated by it, right? So right now, our state of mind is we are being agitated by various ups and downs, right? Especially things we are attached to. If somebody takes away, we feel that pain. So until we find full shelter in God, that agitation will be there to some level, right? So we are not there. We are in between right now. We are not there, neither there nor here. So it's a journey. And there's going to be some pain in the process, by the way, because you're trying to give up and trying to attach. You're not finding shelter here, not able to give up this completely. So the in-between journey is a little bit, challenging. But once you find shelter, it is very satisfying. Yeah. Okay. Questions are growing. Yeah, sure.
So if one has developed Krishna consciousness in every action he or she would be doing, like eating, working, sleeping, why do we need to have like a separate time where we would just chant? Because we have developed that in any action we do, right? Then would there be any requirement to do chanting if you have developed that?
That's a very good question. You are able to do rest of the time whatever you're able to do in Krishna consciousness because of the medication you took as part of your chanting. Chanting is like medication. It cleanses your mind. No other thing that you do, it doesn't accumulate new karma for you, but doesn't mean that it cleanses, at the rate at which chanting does. Chanting is a special process given for every age. The people of this world have to accept a process, whether it is, the Raj Yoga process of meditation or yajnas that are given for various ages. For this age also, there is a cleansing process given, which is the chanting process, right? Only when you do that, the highest rate of purification happens. And that is like inoculation for the day, and the whole day will go smooth. It's like, you know, you cleansed today. Say you took your beard today, right? You look very clean and nice, and you stopped taking beard for 2 weeks. How will you look? You look like Sai Baba after after a few weeks. Oh, what happened? He was so nice, so clean, just 2 weeks back. So it's like that. Material world is always dragging you down through dualities of this world. You may think, just like you cook food in this world, leave it that way, what happens? This dwindles and spoils. That is the nature of material world. Because you are part of this world, that's the natural course is it degrades you. So process of meditation, especially chanting in this is that inoculation that keeps you clean. It's like shaving. Yeah. Okay, so let's read the next verse.
Yogi, whose mind is fixed on me, readily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion, realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past beings.
Yeah. So once he is able to absorb in Krishna or God, he achieves transcendental happiness. It's not mundane happiness. Mundane happiness of this world is no comparison. It's like millions of times higher than that. So this is again perfection state, right? Yeah. So he sees the quality to equality with God. Yeah. Read the next verse. Yeah. Please read.
Self-controlled yogi constantly engaged in yoga practice becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest state of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord.
Yeah. So this is how one, as he constantly practices, this is what happens. All the material contamination in the mind will go away. So we are agitated by all these contaminations, right? Lust, greed, anger, envy, false prestige. These are there with us, envy. These are there by being part of this world. They're all there always. For everybody, nobody is an exception. And all of this get cleansed completely through the process of meditation. And after that is achieved, the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord is achieved. Yeah. So, like I said, we should bring back the mind. So as a beginners of chanting, we should be very careful about straying of mind, and we should bring it back. We should not keep it stayed away, right? Yeah. There are two aspects of mind management. Mind, suppose you had an argument with your manager. Shashwat is laughing. So we all go through all of this, right? Like it's not like every day my manager is very happy with you. Does it happen with you? No, it doesn't happen with me even today. So when your mind is agitated, there are two aspects to mind management. One is first bring peace to your mind. Right? Why entertainment industry is flourishing today? There are movies taken with 500 crores in India, especially in Andhra movies. Like they're going crazy. How confidently they're building all that, such big. In the past, like 50 years back or 100 years back, entertainment industry is nothing, isn't it? Nobody is spending so much money on that because people are so frustrated. They need that entertainment, isn't it? People are ready to pay. That is why. So we can see how minds are a lot more agitated in current times by the amount of money that is going in Bollywood industry or Hollywood industry. That's a reflection, isn't it? Unless they're confident that I spend 500 crores and I'll get 600 crores, nobody would invest, isn't it? People are looking for entertainment. Entertainment is what? Is actually like calming your mind. You're so agitated with the things of this world. You want to calm your mind, give it some entertainment so that your focus shifts from the pain. We all experience a lot of pain in this world. To calm your mind, entertainment is provided. And looking at the thing, we can see how people are agitated in this world and how much they're ready to spend, right? So two aspects. One is calming mind. The other is cleaning mind. Both are important. Suppose you are very agitated and suddenly you go on a retreat to a very calm and nice, peaceful place on the riverside. You wake up in the morning, take your bath, and go out for a walk. How do you feel? Very calm, very peaceful, and happy. So that is like calming your mind. It takes away your mind from all the negative thoughts. But does it mean that all your agitations go away? Yeah. That is what I said just now is calming your mind in the mode of goodness. There are other people to calm their mind. They'll go on a Friday evening for a beer party. All the week they work very hard. On Friday evening, I have so many friends, who do that even today. They go for a party, right? So that what is it actually? Because they're so frustrated, they need a break. So that is to bring their mind to sanity. And a lot of people, even families, go to dinners, outside to hotels, etc. Right? That's a very common thing in today's world. Most families go at least once a week to hotel, so that the woman in the home gets some relief, and also, as a family bond together in a hotel, right? So that is to calm their minds and bond between themselves, right? So calming is important, but calming is not sufficient, because you need to address the root problem. The root problem is the agitations of mind that you have because of your focus on temporary things of this world. In the middle world, people are just focused on things of this world. And all things have ups and downs. They bring happiness and misery, as and when you are emotionally attached to it. So, real thing that will solve the problem completely is when you cleanse your mind. That is the whole focus of meditation. Meditation is actually the process of cleansing the mind, right? It is good you go to a very nice place, peace, and achieve some peace of mind, but that's not a permanent solution. Suppose you have severe pain because you fell down, right? First thing you want to take is painkiller so that your pain is reduced. Will painkiller be sufficient for you? Why? Here. Why? It only is suppressing symptoms. It is actually dangerous if you just only take painkillers, because the real problem is not addressed. Suppose you have a broken leg and you have so much pain, you start taking some painkillers, it will temporarily relieve you, but then the real problem is not solved. So whatever the world is providing in terms of hotels or peaceful, resorts, why people go to resorts? To appease their mind, to make their mind peaceful. Anything we do in entertainment or going to movies or anything we spend money on to get is to relieve our mind of the anxieties of this world. But that is a temporary band-aid. Real thing is to cleanse our mind, right? So that is the process of purification. That's exactly why we do chanting or meditation, right? So pain medication is going to give you relief, but that's not sufficient. We need curative medication, which will cure the root problem, right? Yeah. why our mind is not calm? Because of karmas in our mind, right? So many desires, agitate us. Go do this. Go to that movie. It's the best blockbuster. You are missing something in your life, right? People say that all the time. Oh, you are so focused. You're going to temple all day, night, and you're missing so much in life. You're not eating in hotels. People perceive happiness as the positive side of jewelry. They don't see the other side. Yeah. Yeah. So I think we conceptually discussed most of it. Yeah. So the one aspect is because our mind is filled with so many vasanas in the past, they are like, you see the mind half filled with so many past negative experiences, right? When you try to focus on, now you're trying to focus on God or, higher truth, right? Your mind will not go directly. It's like a browser, right? Mind is like a browser. So until now, you're typing Bollywood.com, for example. Now, as soon as you press B, what happens? Bollywood.com autofills, right? But now what you should do? You have to type Bhagavad Bhagavad-gita.com, right? You want to focus back. You have to type all the letters. So that process is, that shift will require effort, additional effort. But suppose you have browsed Bhagavad-gita.com 100 times, your Bollywood.com will be erased from history. Now, as soon as you press B, what happens? Bhagavad-gita.com comes up, isn't it? So that's exactly how our mind works. Even today, as soon as you get out of mind or you get out of class, all your worldly things will come in your mind, isn't it? Your work, office at Amazon, isn't it? Would come immediately. Or Oracle, wherever it is, that's how mind is. Yeah. So until we clear our whys, but the good thing is our mind is a programmable device, right? It's not just pre-programmed. It's not like, oh, I am fixed, I can't change my mind. You can always reprogram it, right? You can always improve it. So there are two things as a sadhakas. All of us are sadhakas, means who are on this path, trying to achieve the perfection. Two important things. One is persistence. You need to persist. As soon as you press B, sometimes you may just press OK and then go to Bollywood.com, right? So we should persist. Abhyasa. It's called abhyasa. You should constantly practice. So when you meditate, you should constantly bring back your mind to the object of meditation, isn't it? Object of meditation is to hear the holy name, right? So bring back the mind. And the other thing is to abstinence, to stay away, right? So that's called vairagya. Abhyasa, practice what you should do. Vairagya, to stay away from what you should not enter, right? So both are important, both go together. So that's why we follow what? All of us practice 4 regulative principles, right? Yeah, no intoxication, like that. So those 4 regulative principles are the abstinence. We try to stay away. That's the vairagya. And then we practice chanting. We cleanse our mind by, chanting, and we strengthen our intelligence. Now you gain a lot of understanding of, how to bring back your mind, how to be conscious, right? So all those are very important aspects that you should, after going back from here, you should think where I am now, how I should refocus my mind on meditation and improve my sadhana, right? So that is like increasing our intelligence or improving or strengthening our intelligence. So both are important aspects. And then we do it as a ritual. Many people think, oh, in Hinduism, there are so many rituals. Right? Why should we do rituals? They have no meaning. People think like that. But actually, rituals give us that focus. When you perform a ritual, like say waking up early in the morning, some of you, many of you actually come for on Saturday morning, you all come for Mangalarti, right? Many of you have. I'm in the altar, by the way. I see you all. Once in a while, I come out and see. Yeah, I'm dressing, the deities every Saturday morning. Yeah. Today, there was a call for photograph. I thought of coming, but I was in the middle of service. I couldn't come. Yeah. So, rituals are important because just like, the more you practice Bhagavad, typing bhagavadgita.com, that becomes part of your second nature. It erases the negative impressions. The more you do rituals, it adds new impressions in the mind. All the old impressions will slowly sway away. They go away. All your, past worldly impressions will slowly grow away. Right? So that's why we do it every single day. The practice of meditation or, practice of prayers or, vandana, whatever we do, spiritual practices, they add newer and newer impressions. Right? That's very important. Yeah. So one important aspect is to do with attention. Ritual should not be like routine things. Routine things means where you mindlessly do. You brush your teeth in the morning, you do mindlessly. You don't need to focus anything on, right? But ritual means you focus your attention. So only with attention. So that is basically what we discussed in the past, like conscious, being conscious. Right? So that's very important aspect. Yeah, I think that's it. We covered all the aspects. Any other questions?
It's like a reaction to whatever we are doing. Where is it stored, like before it manifests? Like, is it stored in our subtle body?
Subtle mind, subtle body, yeah. It's subtle. The impressions are subtle. They're not gross, they're not physical. But still they are material. They're not spiritual. Mind is material. Intelligence is material. When a person achieves perfection or his mind is dissolved, there is no mind when he leaves to the spiritual world.
So now that was like for one person per month. So if we say like there is like karma for like a group of people, they'll have to go through the same karma at the same time. How will that be stored? Like
How will that be?
How will that be stored to like manifest at that time? So is it like stored in a hidden dimension where we can't see, or is it like in every good subtle body, the same karma is stored, which has to manifest at the same time?
Yeah. So all the people that need to go through a death will be put together in a Titanic ship and that will go down. Yeah, it is like that. It's exacting. Karma, I'm studying astrology. It's very exacting science. It works. Yeah, it doesn't mean that it is fixed, especially for those, on the spiritual path. Yeah.
It is the subtle body.
It's in the subtle body, yes. Any other questions? Today is Ugadi. new beginnings, Happy New Year. This is actually real New Year, right? Yeah. This is exactly according to the planetary movements. This is how it should be. New Year should be actually, yeah. It's because, our system is lunisolar. What in the West they follow is just solar, solar calendar. But moon comes every day. It's part of your everyday's life. And it begins the journey in the first sign, Aries, with 0 degrees at the beginning. Anyway, so karma shifts for many people at this juncture actually. The planetary movement happens. Yeah. No, basically we are all due for whatever we are due for. Time determines time is the factor that plays the role when time drops various things at various times, right? Suppose you are asking for something, but when the time comes, then only you get it. It won't come until the right time comes for you. Somebody is looking for a marriage, right? It won't happen until the right time happens for it. So karma is given. So that is all defined by, that can be correlated to the movement of planets because universe is all connected. It's physiological. Why astrology works is because whatever happens in the universe, it's physiological within you. You are a snapshot of everything that exists in the universe at the time of your birth. And as the planets move, the things you as a snapshot are also moving along. The whole, it's a little more science, there are a lot of aspects, but that's how karma works. But again, doesn't mean that karma is fixed, especially for the people who are practicing spirituality. It is dynamic because you are exercising free will in a very different way compared to the people of the world. They just go with their karma, but you are using free will in a different way as a practitioner of spirituality. So there is additional protection from the universal absolute truth. So karma doesn't apply exactly like for rest of the world, for those on the spiritual path. Maybe I opened a
Certain body, the karma is what the certain body is good. But it has to manifest at some point of time, right? So it should also be like, relation with time itself, as karma. So I'm not able to think past that, like, height and certain body should be related. Because our karma needs to manifest at some point of time. So how does it decide, like, I'm going to manifest at this point of time?
How does it decide? So it's all Daivanetra, means divine eye is enabling what need to happen in your life at what time. It's not in your purview. It's all planned for you. It's like the modes control, right? Your actions based on where you stand. It is given to you. It's all divine arrangement. It's beyond our, we can understand, we can forecast, like weather forecast. Can we control weather when it should be sunny or it just happens? But through weather forecast, you can tell exactly at what hour. Weather forecast is a very, just looking at how what is the speed of wind and based on humidity and temperature in a particular, and the distance between sun and earth. These are various parameters. Based on this, what happened in the past is a, is a replica, is like a, and then you can project it to current time. That's how weather forecast works. So similarly, universe is working in a unison mechanism. And by looking at the position of planets in the zodiac, you can actually forecast what happens, what is more probably going to happen at a certain time. For example, there is a specific event that happened just now, which is 6 planets in Pisces. Shani is just entering the 6th planet, and that's a big event, and it's already written in Varaha Mihira, the guidebook for all astrologers. It's like the Bible. Varaha Mihira, who gave the science based on what Parashara gave. Parashara is the father of Vyasadeva. Parashara is the original, person who gave the astrological wisdom. And Varaha Mihira just gave the same knowledge again about, I think, 1,000 years back. So in that book, it's already mentioned when this particular incident happens, there's going to be an earthquake in the northeastern direction. And Abhigya already told about it. Abhigya is a guy in the YouTube channel. He already told about 2 weeks back, and that happened yesterday. Yeah. So it's not about persons only. The universal events can also be correlated because the same thing happened in the past. So everything happens in a unison. Nothing is, we're all connected at a universal level, individually as well as collectively. Yeah. You are a snapshot when you took birth, that's the beginning. That snapshot plays the role until the end, right? So you physiological, it's like planets are within you. They are moving along. It's not like there's somewhere else also. You're part of the universal energy. So the energies doesn't mean that it just happens according to just what is predefined. It's not like that. It's not that now you have to go to Saudi Arabia. No, it's not like that. It completely depends on you as well. Whatever comes is say 80, but you can change. You can make it like, say minus 80, right? You can make it like plus 120 and make it 100. You can still achieve 100 plus 100 with the right effort. We should never be fearful of these aspects. They should act as a guide. That's all. Yep. Anything else? Okay. We'll chant one round. Hare Krishna Mudra, do you have any questions?
No, Prabhuji, that's all. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Where is it, Prabhu? Hello? Okay, so we'll chant one round. Yep. Anybody wants beats?